How Elvis Presley became a famous icon. Born on January 8, 1935 to a poor but loving family, Elvis Presley went from humble beginnings to an iconic entertainer and one of the biggest names in rock and roll. In today's video, we'll be looking at the life of Elvis Presley to use his life story to inspire young people who may be discouraged about life. We hope this video gives you the courage you need to believe in yourself and pursue your biggest dreams. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Elvis' birth. Elvis was born in a small two-room house in Mississippi a little over 30 minutes after his identical twin brother, who was named Jesse Garon. Unfortunately, little Jesse was stillborn and was buried the next day in an unmarked grave in a nearby cemetery. As a result, Elvis would end up growing up as an only child, and he would talk about his twin and their missed life together throughout his life. Now, Elvis's father, Vernon, worked a few odd jobs, and when Elvis turned 3 years, Vernon was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the crime of forging a $4 check, though he only spent less than a year in jail. 10 years later, in 1948, the Presley family moved to Memphis to search for better opportunities and a better lifestyle. While in Memphis, Elvis went to Humes High School, where he proceeded to fail a music class and was regarded as an introvert and an outsider, but he continued to pursue his musical dreams. When he graduated in 1953, Elvis became the first member of his immediate family to obtain a high school diploma. His musical influences included the pop and country music that was all the rage back then, as well as the gospel music he listened to in church and the black R&B he enjoyed from the historic Beale Street. After his graduation, Elvis drove a truck and worked at a machinist shop before he officially launched his music career in 1959 with the recording of That's All Right. Elvis embroiled in controversy. As the summer of 1956 came around, Colonel Parker arranged a deal with a 21-year-old Elvis to make 3 appearances on his show, The Ed Sullivan Show, for which he paid the young man $50,000. But how did it come to this? Previously, Colonel had sworn that he would never allow the hip-swerving, lip-curling singer anywhere near his family-oriented TV show. He was forced to relent after his competitor, Steve Allen, brought Elvis on the show earlier in the year, and his show shot up in ratings, leaving Colonel Parker's show in the dust. When Elvis first appeared on Parker's program, about 60 million people, making up more than 80% of the total TV viewing audience, tuned in to watch. But after Elvis made his second appearance the next month, crowds, outraged by his sexy performance and afraid that his rock music would corrupt American teens, proceeded to burn and hang Elvis in effigy. By the time he made his final appearance in January of the next year, the network censors demanded that Elvis be filmed from the waist up because he was too sexy. Elvis's strange home. Interestingly, in 1957, Elvis bought the Memphis mansion that would be his home base for the next 2 decades. He paid $102,500 for it, and it was named Graceland in honor of the original owner's daughter. Over time, Elvis made several updates to the property, including a jungle room with an indoor waterfall, music-themed iron gates, and even a racquetball court. Later, when he found out that President Lyndon enjoyed watching all 3 network programs at the same time, Elvis went ahead to install a wall of built-in TVs. Many years in the future, the house will be open to the public for tours, seeing at least 600,000 fans each year. George Bush would become the first United States president to visit Elvis's home during his trip there with a die-hard Elvis fan, Junichiro Koizumi, the Japanese Prime Minister. Elvis in the Army. Later that year, Elvis was drafted into the United States military. He deferred it for a short period to wrap up the production of his film titled King Creole. By March 1958, the young lad was included into the army as a private amidst major media coverage. The young star was assigned to the 2nd Armored Division, and he attended basic training at Fort Hood in Texas. 5 months later, Elvis was granted emergency leave to visit his mother, who was sick at the time. A few days later, Elvis's mother passed away. As it turned out, Elvis was not given the time to grieve because the next month he was shipped out for an assignment to serve as jeep driver with the 3rd Armored Division in West Germany. All through his time there, Elvis continued to receive lots of fan mail. Love and marriage. Elvis's time in Germany was not all bleak with military service. During his stay there, he stayed off base with his father and grandmother, and he was lucky enough to meet Priscilla Beaulieu, the 14-year-old daughter of a United States Air Force captain and the lady that lifted his sad spirit. In 1960, Elvis was discharged honorably from active duty after achieving the rank of sergeant. His first movie after his time in the military was released later that same year, and the film's soundtrack stayed at the top of the Billboard album music for 10 whole weeks and remained on the charts for 111 weeks in total, the longest of any album in Elvis's entire career. Elvis dated Priscilla for so many years before finally getting married in 1967. The marriage didn't last though, because by the early 1970s, the marriage began to fall apart. To further complicate things, Elvis was also wrestling with a growing addiction to prescription drugs, battling a weight problem, and his destructive lifestyle eventually caught up with him when he had to be hospitalized for drug-related health problems. By 1973, the couple divorced. His extravagant gestures. In 1964, just a few years after he left the military, Elvis bought the Portermark for $55,000. The 160-foot-long yacht that had been constructed in 1934 and was originally a U.S. Coast Guard cutter as well as a former floating White House did not stay in Elvis's possession for too long. In a move that surprised those around him, Elvis donated the vessel to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, who did not waste any time in selling off the vessel to raise money. Sometime in the next 15 years or so, the Portermark will fall into the hands of drug smugglers before being seized by the U.S. Customs in San Francisco. Apart from donating the vessel, Elvis gave away cars, jewelry, and cash to strangers and friends alike. He even performed many benefit concerts, one of which generated more than $50,000 towards the completion of the USS Arizona Memorial in Hawaii, as a tribute to the more than 1,100 men who died aboard the USS Arizona in 1941 Pearl Harbor attack. The tribute had started many years but had stalled due to lack of funds. That particular concert, for which tickets were sold between $3 and $100, helped to reinvigorate the fundraising efforts for the memorial, which was dedicated the following year. His death. In August 1977, Elvis passed away at the age of 42 from heart failure, which was later linked to his prescription drug use. Throughout his outstanding career, Elvis helped popularize rock and roll music, and since his death, he has remained one of the world's most celebrated music icons. Thank you very much for watching our videos. We'd like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other interesting videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.